Okay guys, so this is step 2 of this video. It's pretty easy. So if you watched the step 1 video, I'm shrinking this down because I'm going to start with the background. It's always a good idea to paint the background first and then move forward. So you paint from something very broad and not detailed to something much more detailed. Now, the cool part about this is digitally, I don't have to be super careful. What I can do is, as long as this pencil drawing remains on the very top of this layer scale, then the pencil drawing will always show through. So what I want to do to start with is I'm going to add another layer, and then I'm going to drag the pencil layer up. Okay, so when I add this other layer, I first want to look at the original drawing there and take a look. I'm going to start at the sky, and I'm going to look at the grass. Now, if I'm looking up here at the sky, it goes light blue and it moves down to like a white color right by the houses. If I look at the grass here, it goes bright, like almost a light green, and it gets darker the closer it gets to us. So I'm going to minimize that. I'm going to go onto this. And remember, this layer, this top layer is going to stick out behind it. So what I'm going to start with is this one, which is an airbrush. Okay, I am going to open this up. So tap on the little color palette, and then I'm going to choose a color that I think matches the sky as best as I can. Now, if you wanted to cheat, you could pull up that image and then you could just use this little eyedropper to match every single color. For me, that takes a long time and it's kind of boring. So what I want to do first is I want to take that, and I'm just going to use the sprayer. Oh, I'm going to make that bigger. See, if you look, I'm lifting that up. And then I am going to spray everything here with the airbrush. Remember, it goes to white. So about here, I'm going to stop. I'm going to then grab this tool right here. So you'll see it highlighted. Adjust it. This is a smudger. So then I'm going to take that and I'm going to run it over what I just did, and it's going to smooth it out. Okay, and then I just keep moving it down. I'm going to do that a couple more times. So I get the airbrush, I'm turning it up to max opacity, sorry, and I'm going to put it in again. Then I'm going to get the smudger again, and I'm going to smooth it out and bring it down. Okay, so I've got that sky done. Now what I want to do on the same palette is I'm going to do the grass. So here it's all about color matching and the colors that you want to use. So I find that the green and yellow, there's obviously a lot of yellow in this. If I bring that picture back, you can see it. It's yellow. It's the morning sky. The grass where the sunlight hits has a lot of yellow in it. So I'm going to use a green yellow right there. Okay, and I can move this around and do whatever colors I want. So I'm going to stick with that color. I'm going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to use my air sprayer. I can draw through the pencil lines at this point because they're going to show up. Anything that I put over this layer is going to show up. Okay, so I'm using the green layer and I'm going all the way down. Then I'm going to grab the smudger and do the same thing. I'm going to smudge this so that it smooths out. Now, unlike the sky, it doesn't go to white, it goes to darker. So what I can do is lower that color, use the airbrush again, and then put it right here. And I'm going to go down and move up. And I know where all my shadows are because I drew them in. So I can move up with less impunity without being scared. And then I can smudge it in. Now, one of the cool things is if you make a mistake with this, there is this little arrow at the top left, which looks like a backspace. And that's exactly what it is. It's a backspace. So if you mess it up at any point and you're like, oh God, I hate it, then you can just backspace it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just keep adjusting the colors until I find that I like where I'm at. I can keep looking too at the original color, and you should be able to see how well it matches over top. again, I'm not going for an exact replica. This is supposed to be a painting. It's not a photograph. So I'm just going to keep matching and adding darker colors in the spots where they should be. And then once I've added them, I'm going to take my smudger and smooth it out. Okay, so I think I screwed that up a little bit. So I'm going to backspace it. And then I'm going to make the smudger a little bit smaller. Okay, try not to run into the horizon line. And then if you want the dark to lift up, you have to start at the bottom and move it upwards. If I wanted this to come down, I do that. So you can do this as many times as you need to keep doing your background, to keep adding it in. You don't have to add the details in yet. The idea is to get a base color down so that, you know, once you're adding details and you're putting stuff on it, then it's got that like little glow underneath. If you just go straight to putting stuff on it, it tends to be very stark in terms of color and it doesn't look realistic. What I want is that smooth back area. And if you look here, I'm kind of being a little more delicate and taking a little more care as to where I put these things. So once I have that and I'm satisfied with what it looks like, I can see it over here, I'm going to add another layer. Now again, you want that pencil layer to be at the very top so you can see it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in more shadows, and I'm going to start at the front because that's where the most shadows are, and I'm going to work my way back. So here's where you go to a darker color. And again, you could, if you go up and down along the same line like this, it's the same tone, so you can get to the same color. If I go all around, it's going to be a different tone. So I try to stay within the same tone. I'm going to go back to this color. Here you go. Once I have that, all right, that's pretty dark. Then I'm going to get one of the other brushes, so a smaller brush, and you can try whichever brushes you want and see which ones you like best. So this is a paintbrush, and I'm going to start adding in those darker areas that I know exist on this. Okay, and again, this is not the detail, this is the generalized thing that I'm drawing. So I'm going to put in this darker area. If I look, this is on a different layer, that's important. And what I'm doing, it's almost paint by numbers. So this is where I'm going to start adding like the basic colors that things are going to be. And this works with everything. I want to make sure that I'm adding those colors to the background as well. This is called color blocking. So what I'm doing is just adding a base color in for everything so that I know what colors I'm going to be using. For the darker areas, I just use all of one color. Don't go like too heavy with this. This is again like a very, very basic area. And then once I know that I don't need that color anymore, I can adjust the color to a different one if I like. So for example, this light green, I'm going to put in the tree because I don't want that really, really dark green to be the tree. I need to save that dark green for the shadows in the tree. So just like I'm doing, you're going to do this for the entire painting. You're going to just add in darks and lights and different forms of color. And then remember, these areas that I've blocked out, I can go general like this, like just go in a big sweeping motion and block them all in. Okay, like this. So if you look, I'm just blocking everything in. What I can do then is highlight the eraser, and I can move the eraser and make this bigger, and then I can actually clear out those areas. Okay, so if you want to just be easier, I can like go make the eraser tiny, and then I'm just going to outline my tree with that eraser. Because it's on a separate layer, it's not going to affect the sky in the background or the pencil lines. That's the beauty of these layers. So I can just keep going, and I can erase as much as I want or as little as I want. And remember too, you want to just match every color as best you can. So for example, the tree, I know that brown is like an orange color. If I look here, the tree is actually like a very, very dark brown. but I'm not going to go that dark to start. And then I'm going to like just highlight, unhide layer. Okay, and then I can just hide it again, close. Oh yeah, sorry, that it does that when I'm on the wrong layer, so I have to go back up here. I almost made a huge mistake. So again, you can just highlight these areas. You can still smudge it too if you want to, because this is a base layer. So I could go like that and I can smudge it down. And same here, I can smudge it to make it smoother, but that's up to you. It's whatever you want to do. So what you're going to have to do is I'm going to stop the video, but you're going to have to go through the entire process and block in all of the colors. Remember, constantly look at your reference photo to do that. So just keep bringing it back up, and then you can see which areas are dark and which areas are light. And then you're going to block those in appropriately on the image.